See this bag? How much do you think it's worth? It's just a plastic bag with some yellow thread in it. As I tell you this story, think about the value of this. I'm going to tell you a true 21st century fable that happened to me. I don't sew. I don't do it well. Something bad happens every time I do. Every once in a while I'll sew a button on, but disasters happen when I sew. When I was 17, for example, I decided I was going to make curtains for my bedroom, and the room was never quite the same again. I broke my own rule. I decided I was going to make a cape for my niece for her magic kit. I sewed it, it came out okay. I put the needle away, I put the threads away, and I was in a rush to go somewhere. Just as I was finishing, I saw a little ball of yellow thread fall on the ground. And I thought to myself, Milo will bat that underneath the entertainment center. Milo was my orange cat. He was energetic, he was 2 years old, he was curious, and as you can see, he was incredibly cute. Now Milo, at times, I would see a streak of orange, whoosh, go through the room, and then he'd put out his brakes or his paws to stop, and his front end would stop, but his rear end wouldn't. It would collide with his front end until eventually he'd dig in and stop. Milo's favorite room was the kitchen. When I would open up the refrigerator, or when I was opening up a can, he would get so excited he would come in and give me that look that said, "What are we having?" If we weren't having anything, he would feel very sad. Sometimes he'd just go in the kitchen and check things out. He'd look at his plate, and if there was food in there, he'd be happy. He'd give me the paws up. And if not, he'd give me that look that was supposed to make me feel guilty. When Milo wanted his dinner, he had 3 ways of telling me, "Get it for me now, it's time." The first thing he would do, I was sitting at my computer, he would jump on the chair and very gently put his paws on my shoulder. If that didn't work, he would schmooze me with his face as he jumped in front of me. And his third technique would be to plunk himself in front of whatever I was doing so that I couldn't do it. Lately, he is so talented that he knows how to do it in one fluid motion. Pause, schmooze, and plunk. But now back to the thread. The day after I saw that thread fall on the floor, Milo started coughing and he stopped eating. I brought him to the vet and they said they wanted to keep him from observation. Early Friday afternoon they called me and they said they wanted to do exploratory surgery. In my dictionary, the words exploratory, surgery, and my cat should not be in the same sentence. I don't like the idea of somebody checking around in my cat's insides to see what they would find, but it was getting close to the weekend. I figured they knew that what they were doing, and I gave him permission. Late Friday afternoon, they called me with a very strange question. They said, "Do you use dental floss?" I said, "No, I use those little plastic holders with the floss in between." And then they told me what Milo's problem was. Milo had not batted that piece of thread underneath the entertainment center as I thought. He had eaten it. Part of it stuck, "Yeah, got a tongue," because he has a very rough tongue, and the rest of it literally threaded itself through his digestive system and through his intestines. They had to make 7 different incisions in 7 different places to get it all out. They couldn't just pull it through. If they hadn't have operated, he probably would have died over the weekend. I wondered if 7 was Milo's lucky number or if he had used up 7 of his 9 lives. I went there over the weekend to visit him, and he wanted absolutely nothing to do with me. He was angry. He was hurting. He was in a strange place. They were doing bad things to him. He wanted to go home. They were giving him drugs, and they had him in a cage like an animal. Monday I went to pick him up, and he was still angry with me. I tried to comfort him and pet him. Finally, in disgust, he ran away. He's an indoor cat, so he can't run very far. But he jumped on the chair, on the counter, on the entertainment center, and on the landing up above my kitchen, way in the back where I couldn't get him. I could see him, and he looked at me as if to say, "Now will you leave me alone?" So I left him alone. Since that time, Milo has continued to amaze me with his intelligence and warm me with his unconditional love. Sometimes, when I'm sleeping a little bit too late, he'll come up and very gently bite me on the head. Or I'll wake up in the morning and there he is, asleep in my arms. I see 4 morals to this 21st century fable. The first 2 are definitely for me. Take care of things right away is moral number 1. If I had moved that thread, I never would have put my friend's life in jeopardy. Take care of things is number 1. Number 2, stop rushing around. Number 3 is for Milo and for me, and I'm sure for you too. Don't eat just anything that somebody puts in front of you. And for number 4, what do you think the value of these threads were? The bill from the vet was $1,700. Moral number 4, education is expensive.